This is Jonathan with Gutter Gardens Direct. Today we're at a home in Oakwood, Ohio, outside of Dayton, replacing gutters and installing gutter guards. Stay tuned and I'll show you what we're up to. This is an older Oakwood home that has a lot of gutter on it. Not a hip roof, but gutter on the front, the back, and the sides, not necessarily connected to each other. And one of the issues that they've been having, a significant issue that they've been having, is they're getting a lot of water in their basement. In fact, the other day, we had a pretty good downpour, and they had about 4 inches of water throughout their basement. So we came out recently and made some suggestions for improvements to the gutter system to essentially get the water away from the house. I'll walk you around and show you. Right now the guys are taking off the gutter, so you can see there's 2 levels of gutter. There's an upper section for the main roof, and then this lower section of gutter that does come around in a hip fashion, so it kind of follows the roof line all the way to the front of the porch here. The idea that we came up with, which is maybe a little unconventional, is that we are going to actually remove the downspout that's on the rear corner of the house here on the left. We've just removed the downspout here by the door, and there was no downspout across the front. So essentially what was happening was water that started here at the front porch had to work its way back and around the corner to the downspout to the left of the front door. And then the rear portion of the house, which is actually an addition that was put on recently, has this long downspout that comes from the second story to the ground. So we're getting rid of both these downspouts. We're going to pitch the rear gutter towards the front of the house, and then we're going to drop it into this lower gutter over here. And it's going to come into that gutter that just came tumbling to the ground, although we're putting the new 6-inch gutter up there. And then we're going to run the gutter, we're going to pitch it forward all the way to the front porch. So it's going to make these turns, and it's going to come all the way to the front edge of the porch here. We're going to run a downspout, a 3x4 downspout down the side of this post, and then we're going to turn it out into the garden here. You can see all the pine needles that have gathered inside here, but you also have a lot of the sticks from the pine tree as well. Looks like some ivy, not quite sure where that came from, and water. So while we brought it down to ground level, we were able to pretty much preserve it as it was. A little bit of that debris fell out. This is the inside corner, so you can see how badly that was clogged really on both sides. So, there's a ton of activity inside here that was just making it a no-win situation for that gutter. So again, we're going to do 2 things with this. We're going to install new 6-inch gutter on the back, and then we're going to install the Master Shield gutter guard, which is a micro mesh screen system. It'll keep all that stuff out of the gutter. On the back of the house here, we have this new addition to the house. When we came out, we were trying to figure out how we could reorient the downspout that comes down into this box. So you can see the homeowner installed this box with the idea that it would collect water, and then it goes through a very small pipe and exits out here. But as you can see, no water is coming out of this pipe. It's all collecting inside the box, and it's not going anywhere. Well, the reason for that is we have a lot of pine needles. And so the pine needles have clogged up the opening into this thing, or at some point along this pipe, and the water can no longer go through there to vacate. It's really kind of a Band-Aid solution. So to take care of that, we're going to get rid of this downspout altogether, and we're going to move it up here to the front so it drops into that lower gutter. And then because there's very little roof surface area here at the bottom, the larger 6-inch gutters will act as a highway to carry that water out to the front of the house. So as I mentioned, the homeowners have been getting a lot of water inside the basement, and this has been an ongoing problem for them. So I believe that this solution is going to take care of the issue. So we're going to repeat the same process over here. It's almost a mirror image of what's on the other side. We don't have really the tree issue, because on this side of the house you can see that big pine tree that overhangs the house and is dropping a ton of pine needles. The good thing about those pine needles is they're relatively dense, so they don't travel a long distance, say like the long needle pines do. But we do have this tree over here that is contributing to the backside of this gutter. Okay, we've wrapped up this job in Oakwood, a suburb of Dayton, Ohio. I want to show you what we did here. When we arrived, this house had 5-inch gutters. It had a variety of downspouts at different points along the main part of the house, and has a large pine tree here. So this pine tree, in addition to the one that you can see over the back of the house and other trees in the neighborhood, were contributing to a leaf and debris problem, and mostly a pine needle problem on the back of the house. So the gutters were just really packed full of leaves and debris. So my counsel on this, my recommendations, were to eliminate some of the downspouts and essentially shift the water away from the back of the house to the front of the house. So if you look at the structure here, the main part of the house starts at the edge of the porch, and then it goes back to where this little green bush is. There's an addition that was put on a year or so ago, and they put on 5-inch gutters and downspouts there. The downspout previously was coming off the back corner, which in normal circumstances would make sense. You'd bring it down here, and it just terminated here. Unfortunately, it's also being part of the original foundation, so I guess it actually extends from the bush to back here. That being part of the basement, they were getting a lot of water that was coming in on that corner. And as you will see in other parts of the video, you can actually see the system that she had put in place to accommodate that. What I recommended was that we got rid of that downspout altogether. We pulled the water forward towards this inside corner, and then we drop a downspout into the lower gutter. You can see we've upsized to the 6-inch gutters in any of the areas that we touched, which was really the bulk of the house. And then there was also a downspout right here, which we got rid of, and we brought it all the way out to the front, to the edge of the porch here. And then we ran it down the porch post wall. She built a little rock garden there out of some stones, so she said she'll probably have to modify that. Maybe extend the stones down to the rest of the stone here at the front of the garden. But the idea, if you look at this, is we were essentially able to move the water from the very back of the house to the very front of the house. And my whole intent, based on what we had discussed, was to get it out of the basement, get it away from the basement. So by doing that, I believe we will have accomplished that task. Initially over here, we weren't going to do anything. We were just going to leave all this in place. But again, with the amount of flooding that they've had in the basement, they decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on this. So if we look at the backside here, new gutters up top. We reoriented where the downspout was coming off the gutter to begin with, and then dropped it into this lower 6-inch section of gutter. Because we have a mansard roof on the side, there isn't that much roof area, so essentially this 6-inch gutter acts as a highway to take the water all the way out here to the front. Again, to terminate out into the garden. So the one difference on this side is that we have this run of gutter up top that we did not change out. We kept the same 5-inch gutter that was there. We did reorient this downspout because it was a little askew, so we tried to straighten that up and put it back into the gutter. And then within the gutter itself, we've got little elbows in there to kind of push the water forward, so it's not just driving into that corner. So there's a little bit more water coming off this side of the house actually than the other side, but again, we believe that this will take care of the water issues that they've had in their basement. Now if you look down below here at the ground level, you can see the neighbor has all these hoses to kind of get the water away, because you know these houses are pretty close together. And so initially there was a downspout here, there was a downspout back along the fence line there, and so you had all this water that was coming off this house, and then you had all the water that was coming off this house, and they were converging in the middle, which was also not helping the situation. So it looks like the neighbor has extended pipes away to get stuff into the front and back of their yard as well. So hopefully that will remedy the problem, and then the sump pump that they're adding to the basement will just be an insurance policy against any future flooding there. But I'm really optimistic that the surface level water that was coming in due to all the water that was just collecting alongside the house is in fact a thing of the past, and will take care of things for the future. If you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button below, and we'll bring you additional videos of other projects that we've worked on.